Hi friends, welcome back to Occultists Anonymous, sponsored by Roll20, The Onyx Path, and viewers just like you. Thank you everybody who supports us, follows, hangs out on Discord, shares memes, shares your stories, shares our videos to some friends, maybe. And a special shout out to all our patrons who support us monetarily and pass some money our way. It is greatly appreciated. Shout outs to 0 out of 10 Vampire Food, Adele, Al, Alexander, Bernie, Buck, Chandra, Chris, Clara, Doggo DeLune, Emil, Flippin' Fearful for free council for Sonas. Man, you got to change that on one of these days. Funzo Super Ali, George, insert funny name here, James, Jenny, John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt. That's going to mess me up. John, Josh, Julian, Cat Feathers. That's true. I should next time. Klaus, Crazy Man 1772, Michael, Milo V3, Ms. Grumpy, Moku, Mozart D Minor, Noba, Not Noctal, Other Guy, Perry, Puppeteer, Riafio, Ryan, Sheksara, Terran, Terrible Heathen Who Likes It Cold, Thomas, Usama, Vortex, Falcon, and Zoltan. Thank you all for your support. We greatly appreciate you. Yes, righto. Why do it feel? It feels like I don't have enough tabs open. We'll see what I'm missing later, I guess. So.
Your notes.
No, because I've got those.
Mage the Awakening.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay. Though, actually, that's a good point. I should actually open my ST notes in Conca. Because this time I did good. I actually, organized some shit.
We're
gonna. Well, I made them. Yes, thank you, Ash. Listen here.
Oh yeah.
Somebody's gonna stay at Gnosis 1.
I just not looked at them.
Yeah. No, you say Gnosis 2 in here.
Yeah, it's supposed to say 3.
Oh, let me go edit my note to myself.
And it's Prime 2.
Sorry, I'm gonna cut that out of the YouTube. I can't get away with nothing. And yes, Craig's beard is still amazing. I believe he just got it touched up.
First time in 2 years.
I don't know. Oh yes, my notes. So when we last left the gang, everybody was waking up from dreams and a night of nightmares. It is enough that it is not enough that you actually do not sleep, so everybody still regains their willpower, but it is a very kind of tossy-turny, actually, I think it's a very deep sleep, and there is no it's a nightmare and wake yourself up. Nope. Enjoy 8 or so hours of, terrible nightmares. We went over the big major ones, and because questions came up in chat, I just wanted to bring up, no, Cassioterum bracelets do not do anything to a mage. They're just a broken flute.
Now, see, I didn't catch that on the first go.
Oh.
I read that yesterday and was like, oh, that's so rude.
Sorry, bud.
I figured it was something about making it so that you couldn't interact with spirits by binding your hands in it.
Mm-hmm. It does have that, yeah. So none of these are pleasant dreams at all. And feel free to adjust my narrative here a little bit, but as you all are getting up with, I imagine not necessarily sluggishness, because of course everybody slept well, but there is the lingering thoughts that everybody is kind of dwelling on and kind of shaking off. And you can see that, Rilla similarly has a little bit of a, look on her face. Not necessarily that you all immediately can jump to the conclusion that you all had bad dreams. I'm sure that's going to come up here shortly.
How's Jules?
Jules seems a little more down than normal, but he does not have the same kind of haunted looks that you all might. Doesn't appear, out of the ordinary. I do actually have notes about what happened to Jules.
Cool.
Every now and then, man, I actually do notes.
Oh yeah.
If I can flavor your description a little, I think it's safe to say that we're all physically rested but mentally exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like definitely this morning Gisela's just quiet.
Imagine everyone is doing their associated camp chores kind of by rote.
Theo's not leaping into breakfast this morning.
Okay.
He's kind of introspective.
Hmm.
If somebody wants to prod her, she will, but otherwise, if somebody wants to step in and do it.
Cloak definitely will, considering the conversation that happened immediately before we went to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll describe it. So when Cloak wakes up, he goes right into meditation as usual. Because, I mean, as is his way, right? You go through traumatic experiences, one of the best ways to ground yourself is routine, especially salubrious routine. So after his morning meditations, Theo is kind of walking around sluggishly, not really getting into things. He'll engage her and approach and say, "You seem dour."
It wasn't a pleasant night.
What do you mean?
Spent my night experiencing warning fatigue. I don't know exactly what it was. Warning or prophecy. It took me places I was not happy to be at.
Did you seem to have lost
And
control?
I don't know if it was I don't know if it grew from the conversation we had. It's kind of helping me make up my mind about things.
I saw something too. And I think I should share it with you all. And if you saw something, based on what I believe happened, means that we should all discuss this together.
Or ritual. Yeah, that makes sense.
And then Cloak, I imagine that maybe Theo looks away at a certain point, still feeling a little down. And then Cloak tries to lean back in and get her eye contact again. And say, "Remember, you will become what you choose to become. Nothing more and nothing less."
And a thought is what terrifies me more than anything else. That I could end up like I saw through choices that I made.
We'll talk more.
I think Rilla kind of adds in, because I imagine you guys are not having this conversation too far away, and Rilla is definitely
Doesn't need to be private,
right. Rilla definitely is like when sees that Theo's slow to go make food. Rilla doesn't mind stepping in, and from your conversations, that was kind of her thing when Mortimer and Jules and her were traveling. She'd made breakfast and cooked, and so seeing that Theodosia, kind of adopted mom, is not making dinner or breakfast, so she'll step in, and looking at Theo, ask, "What kind of things did you see? If you are comfortable telling me."
Was a dark future where I was building, seemed like an necropolis, place for dead things. And the dead things were walking around, dark skies. There was an overlord, like you read about in fairy tale stories. I was the evil witch.
Well, that doesn't sound too bad.
Yeah, except Catherine and Theodosia were not there.
And that hits Rilla, because Rilla lives there and goes, "Oh." And there's the
alone in your city of the dead?
Yep. And they weren't just not there, they were consciously absent.
There's the half arm hug as Rilla is moving cooking utensils and things like that. And okay, well, now my dream doesn't seem as bad.
It's not pie. Your dream can be bad for you without making mine less bad for me.
No, mine was... Well, yours felt sounds, a danger of the future. Mine, it's like the balancing point for a number of disasters, and I had no control over what was going to happen.
I can jive with that.
Jive in 1846. And Rilla looks over at, there's that questioning glance of what happened in your dream?
I appeared to be a captive of my gender and of my station in...
Oh. Rilla can connect with that.
On a plantation in the east with all of the comforts that the world has to offer.
Oh, that's foul.
Gross.
Her eyes kind of move over to Cloak and, kind of, there's a little nod and then says, you felt something? Saw something?
I witnessed something. I am no longer merely at the whims of my dreams. However, I also watched something that I did not choose to create. It's what led me to believe that there was something else going on. However, what I witnessed was about power and about choice, and was, in a way, a likely conclusion if I were to no longer exert the same control I do over the abilities you saw me exercise against those tigers.
A warlord, then?
An oppressor, but much the same. I witnessed my rise to power in Purgatory Bluff, which, of course, suggests an exercise of power elsewhere.
And were we present?
Cook now thinks, and he's like, I don't remember seeing you, but that's because when you're so focused on your own gains, you tend to ignore everyone else.
None of you were in mine either.
What was yours?
I was alone, run out of town as a witch. We were too blatant, and when times started getting bad, became scapegoats. And so I had to leave.
Is your family?
No, they had gone back to Germany, to my mother's hometown, because things have been going so well. Perhaps we aren't cursed after all.
Why would you not have joined them?
I can't join them. It was part of getting rid of the curse.
When did you get rid of the curse?
Before we came here, before we left.
Like, yeah, similar to Chris's face here, I think Rilla's makes the same thing. Oh, there's hope. Okay, and like,
Oh, yes. I can tell you how I did it. Yours seems to be a bit bigger. You might not be able to use the same method, but a similar one.
oh, okay. Well,
I made a deal with the Supernal,
oh,
so you have to be willing to pay what they ask.
I knew it wasn't going to be that easy.
It's not free.
No.
And you shall, never set foot upon the soil of your homeland?
Yep.
Steep price.
Worth it, I think, to end this, both on my father and for the future.
Save yourself.
And yet, in this dream, you are left bereaved almost.
I still think it's worth it to free them.
And the rest of it? Burned at the stake?
I can start over. It won't be easy, but
Rilla kind of grins and says, "It isn't," but then and kind of looks around to literally everybody here who, before coming to Purgatory Bluff, restarted.
go further west, perhaps.
I hear
So-
San Francisco's nice.
And so we are to believe that this is another leg of our journey? Another welcoming gift from our host?
Something that was put upon us.
But it seems cloak so.
Seems
Yes.
beyond
I-
coincidence that all of us should have this.
I would like to, if you're all willing, explore these together. Because I think we might be able to discern something more about whoever wrote the journal and whoever shared these visions with us. I'd like for us all, and then he, of course, motions to Jules and Rilla and says, that includes you two. I'd like for us all to join in a dreamscape where we can share what we saw so that we can collectively understand the significance.
Do we have time for that? Like Rilla looks over to
We have
Theodosia, keeper of the journal.
Funny you should say that. Take a day of rest for body and mind. Confront your nightmares and fears. You will never be free of your doubts and worries as one of the wise. You will have to weigh actions and consequences, burdening your soul to do what must be done for those who cannot. That's our instructions for today.
How fitting.
Seems like this is precisely what we're meant to do.
Like at that point, Rilla like settles back and like pulls out like a couple extra like pans and is like, but I'm gonna make a damn good breakfast. And like we're gonna be here. We're not rushing. Yeah.
I'd like to go first.
Gog nods and says, that's okay with me.
I'm fine with that.
And the immediate thing that comes to mind that perhaps I'll be looking for is that mine and, well, perhaps Rilla's dream seems, at least the way we have told them so far, to differ from 3 of yours. Ours seems to be things done to us, rather than the consequences of our actions.
Just throwing this out there, or a thing that you allowed to happen to you.
By inaction or action.
We're all a product of circumstance and its interaction with choice. Each and every one of us, and everything that happens to us. Even if you're a slave, and he says that with tremendous emphasis, you have an opportunity to respond to your circumstances and to influence how it makes you who you are. And I know that much more than many others.
Isabel's been cleaning and maintaining her revolvers throughout this conversation, and she just pointedly looks down. If I have an opportunity to choose, there is no timeline in which that shall happen to me.
I admire your confidence.
Determination.
So after we eat, let's join in the dreamscape.
Everybody kind of gathers round the fire. Is as good a meditation spot as any. We're talking about the whole telepathy linking, shared.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Just for Craig's knowledge, how long is this going to take in game time? Is it, time is linear when we're in that, or is it fairly quick?
I mean, setting it up is, time is linear. But yeah, it is, the speed of thought. So in terms of mechanics, speed of drama.
And we've been there before. So the 4 of us went into the dreamscape once before. So this is the same kind of experience that the Coven members, other than Rilla and Jules. So Thea might know what it's like.
Plot-wise, I could see this taking most of the morning.
Yeah, I do not imagine it will take all that long.
Right.
Yeah, the reason I'm asking is because Theo has some stuff that she wants to do.
Sure.
So
Also, because if we're moving in dream time, you can take 4 hours and make it feel like 4 years.
Exactly. Yeah, like I said, the big thing here is this is definitely speed of plot. I hope that this day of introspection does not take 2 sessions, but yeah. So yeah, definitely no need to roll up the spell unless you're needing specifically the exceptional success or anything like that.
No.
Okay.
I can just roll that. Just roll the dice. See what happens.
But yeah,
That would be
good.
Max yontra bonus 5. So
Stuff.
that's an exceptional.
Oh, that reminds me.
Mm-hmm.
I have updated the spell template.
Oh, cool.
How is it new?
cool.
It does the math for you.
Oh, and just tells you the number at the end, so you don't have to add.
Yeah, it's all listed there, and so
Cool.
if we do need to make adjustments, but yeah, if you scroll up a little bit in chat, you'll see the new little total button or total
Very cool.
little thing. Yeah, so that's there now.
Awesome.
While he's
Unfortunately,
looking up
say again.
just while he was working up the spell, Theo was going to lean in and have a quick word with
Sure.
Isabel.
Oh, sure.
I admire your determination, but speaking as a mother, never say never. There are things I could never imagine doing unless my daughter was at risk. I might do something I would never imagine doing for her.
She just kind of like glances over at Jules and then looks back at you. It's like, that wasn't the part I objected to. But I appreciate it.
Ah. See, I misunderstood.
You'll see.
And we had the exceptional success.
Yep.
And I imagine for the four of you, it's a quick step into, I imagine, this spot standing around the campfire. Just there's a little kind of foggy.
I like that.
Go ahead.
Can I put a condition on everyone in the course of this?
Oh, yes, because it's an exceptional success. Perfect.
Mm-hmm. And I want it to be something like open-minded or yielding, right? Whatever is going to lead to people feeling or be more inclined to share without feeling violated.
That kind of open, welcoming space kind of thing. Yes. The group gets this condition and can resolve it for a beat. Well, actually, no, you can't resolve it for a beat because we changed the way that works anyways. Okay, never mind. No free
Put that kind of
5 arcane
aura
beats.
in there. You know,
like
if Legba
We feel less inhibited about sharing. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. If Legba was trying to cultivate understanding and connection, right? This is a crossroads for the coven. So.
We have the four of you kind of just stepping up from your sitting space there around the campfire, familiar with where you're at, and Jules and Rilla kind of looking around for a second and having not quite grasped everything for a second, and then starting to understand. And I think like there's a flicker of like Rilla's clothing as like she thinks of herself in a dream, and it changes attire from the frontier travel attire to something she's more comfortable, probably more teacherly outfit and stuff like that. As she
sorry.
Yeah, it is
this
also
is the first time that Rilla and Jules, I think, have seen Legba's astral self.
That's true. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that because I don't know if the dream necessarily counts as the astral in the. Well, yeah, I guess why wouldn't it? Yeah.
Well, it's how he thinks of himself all the time anyway.
Right, exactly. So
shadow self and stuff. That's all I mean.
Right. Regardless, yeah, that's true. But yeah, so they kind of stand up and start to observe the world, and yeah, there's recognition of Cloak becoming Legba, and okay, so this is what this is like, because I'm sure you guys have at one point or another talked about it. So but then Jules kind of prompts and says, looking over the fire, and nods at Petrichor, and says, I believe the floor is yours.
And she like pulls out her flute and like very like television show flashback sort of thing, where she like starts telling the story and then it just goes into it, and then it becomes more of a almost narration sort of thing. And it's Petrichor, with child, and sitting on the porch of a plantation while it is what did you say last week? Being aggressively worked.
Yep.
And
nice pretty dress.
Yeah. with recognizable bands of cassiterum around her wrist, and an older gentleman that looks very similar to her, and a younger gentleman that would appear to be her husband, walking out amongst the
Cotton.
slaves.
Sure. Imagine, like, everybody else here, well, even Petrichor herself, probably looking at this in a third person, like, ghostly selves. Probably, maybe even this is a snapshot, everything kind of frozen in time.
Oh, hi. Cat.
Cat tax.
What do you want?
Well, this place is... Well, it's southern.
Right.
That's the kindest thing you can say about it.
It's hell for the majority of people who live here.
Mhm.
This is how I imagine most of the United States to be right now.
Rilla and Jules, no, I mean, there's definitely work everywhere, but up north it's still work, but it's less plantations.
It's not. Egalitarian, perhaps.
But it's not like this.
I don't mean the onerous work. I mean the...
Subjugation.
Yes.
Class stratification? Yes.
I'd be surprised if there's any place in this country where my people are not treated like this right now.
Purgatory Bluff.
I'm still, and we are still sometimes faced with disrespect and hostility over your point stands.
Rilla, I apologize because leaning a little into gender stereotype, is inspecting the dress that Petrichor is, wearing, and kind of brings up that these symbols are
familiar.
Well, unfortunately, is there?
And the open.
Yeah, but so are
Well,
other symbols.
This dream purports me to have been reconnected with my father, who I know to have been, or I am told was, one of their agents.
Do you know he's dead?
I do not. I imagined it. I grieved for my parents. But I never left my husband's estate once I arrived there. So, if there was a funeral, I was not there.
And we know seers are liars.
Unless the truth hurts more.
Yeah. I am almost scared to do this, but I'm going to see what horrors the spiritual world has here. And she'll open her site.
Ooh. What would be here? Imagine, that there are no spirits here, because this is it's literally the dream, right? But the resonance here is quite obviously
Violence,
nasty.
blood, greed.
Violence, blood, greed, tyranny.
Yeah.
The whole shebang.
Yeah, as much as it is like her trying to investigate the scene, it's also testing the limits of the dream, of how much has been sent to us,
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah.
of how whole a vision it is.
Yeah. I think
so. If there's no spirits and stuff, that is as telling as if there were.
Right. Yeah. No, it is definitely to kind of add on to that. Yeah, you can see resonance, but where in the real world, resonance is almost a patchwork and like a stripe of various resonance. This is like somebody took a big paintbrush and went, that's all bad, that's blood, and just, big swath of paint with no,
inexpertly
variations.
done.
Yeah.
A scenic painting rather than a portrait.
There you go. I like that. Yeah. Yeah, no variation or anything like that. So it's very like, this is what the feel should be, and you definitely got that in the dream, but that was,
Yeah, I want to look at, basically just turn on my mage site, and I feel like if this is actually, like, your future, see, like, if there's actually a time connection there, or is this...
Or a fate connection, or a
time or a fate connection, or is this entirely just a video you're being played?
And yes, 100%. Popping on Fate site. I had notes for that. Yes, this is very much like there's no connection to this place to Isabel. I mean, there's the idea that Isabel is sitting here, and this is a possibility somewhere out there, because I mean, go a year out and as an acanthus using whatever time site you got, there's no way you could guess what might be out there. So, it is a possibility, and not something that she could discount, but there isn't anything in this to make it seem like, oh, this is a prophecy, or yeah,
it could happen, because anything could happen, but like, this isn't, I don't see it in your pattern yet.
Right.
At all.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, I will just relay that to everyone else, that this is... We don't have movies.
Right.
So, like a play being put on for
Yeah.
us. Yeah.
Good.
There is a definite echo from Jules going good, and Jules' entire face this entire time has been like, there has been some serious concern, and he's been fighting the expression, and he's trying to be like aware that like this is not his moment, but he's like, oh, okay, thank God, because I mean, there's some stuff going on there with that relationship, and it's like, oh wait, by the way, dad's not dead, and new husband. Jules is going, what the fuck?
Your input is just as welcome as anyone, Jules.
Just one note, ma'am. Fuck all this. You don't want it, and I don't want it for you, and that's all I'm going to say about this. And he has been standing next to future husband, who I think you've only seen from like the back of the head, never seen his face, and he's just like standing up next to this guy, kind of like, it's like, who the fuck is this guy? Because he has no supernatural powers to investigate this, so he's just here experiencing it with Isabel. So,
oh, you know what? This might be a good exercise. Okay, so. You reminded me of something. So, would like to do something. I was going to do it at the end of all the dreams, just to, but I can do it here as well. Cloco or Legba will turn to Jules and say, "What do you know of the occult that might help you discern the significance of this dream?"
if it was a real dream, there's a couple things of interpretation that I've read, but this doesn't appear to, based on what you and now Arachne has said, this isn't even a real dream. It's a sham.
Well, even if it is a sham,
Also,
it
don't know if I
seems
would
like
call
a
it
real
sham.
dream.
It's real. It's just
It is
Indeed.
a
I just
dream
meant to use this word.
instigated upon us instead of spawned from our own brain.
Dreams are prophecies in and of themselves. They just don't have the same supernal significance that one who walks Gisla's path would give them. In Vodou, we cultivate our understanding of dreams so that we can understand where we might go, what the possibilities are, so that we are at least aware of what our choices might cause for us. And so each image that is presented to us, we treat as a deliverance from Bondier, from the Lua, as a way of admonishing us of what is possible. Any image can be discerned for its significance. So I would suggest that you harness what you know to discern the significance of this dream, because it might aid you when we all have to explore your own.
That's true.
And I want to roll a teamwork test, if that's okay,
Sure.
to give Jules some bonus dice.
Mhm.
Cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is there some sort of either something to investigate with Focus Mage Sight or some sort of roll to sort of, I don't know, get the message of why this particular scene was sent, or
Gotcha.
what the sort of correlation to our journey is, or
Mhm.
whatever?
To avoid going down rabbit holes or anything like that, all of these are basically hallucinations. They are pure fantasy. So there is no actual dream significance. Oh, this is not great. How does that look for you folks? Yeah,
Oh, I'm
that's
real rough.
real rough.
You can see the number.
yeah. It-
Yeah, the final number.
Yeah, I don't like dark mode because you can't read those pastel purple bits.
Yeah, that's
Gray,
unfortunate.
maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll turn off dark mode.
No, because it's on my end.
It's on
It's
your
not.
screen.
It's not
Oh,
you.
okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I don't use it because you can't read the. I can't read the gray words.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Something to report up to roll 20. But yeah, definitely two successes towards Jules' investigation, and primarily so we do not drag time on
Mhm.
this. I think because it's a fucking terrific idea. Is a moment where, well, not a moment, but you all spend time looking through the dream. And yeah, there's enough stuff, especially starting with the residence doesn't paint out right, the fate things, and that even I'm imagining Jules and Legba both looking at this and exchanging some words about significance of different things. And there's obviously some of the symbolism is pretty obvious. Oh, look, there's seer symbols all over her dress and some different stuff like that. But it feels not necessarily ham-fisted, because that sounds like it's unprofessional or something like that, but it's definitely like this is a tableau somebody made to be seen, as opposed to drawing up some actual prophetic dream. And I am very happy to have us go over everybody's dream and visit it if we want to, but I do want to let everybody know that we literally don't spend 3 hours going over, oh, none of this is significant. But
Yeah, I want to try to find the edges. Like, I want to see the framework to try to see who built it.
That I'm on board with.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, that's
I've seen the
Stutters of a holodeck, right?
staging and the play. Now I
Mhm.
want to look backstage.
Right.
Kind of.
who's
that's
the director?
that's more the sort of thing I was trying to get at.
Gotcha. But before we jump to that, was there anything further with Jules and Cloak, Ralph?
Was there anything more about the symbolism you're about to say?
Oh,
Because it
that's
seemed
what I was
like you
saying.
knocked
Like
it off.
most of it is it is very like it is placed, as opposed to especially from like Cloak's time, even pre-awakening, right? And as you know, with the experience of having previously interpreted dreams, like this is, I feel like it would feel artificial, I guess, and very like placed. The difference between walking into a real home and a staged home, and like, oh, the furniture here is so nice. Except I don't think anybody would ever sit like that. Like when they have, all the cushions and everybody's sitting over here and the TV is way over here. It's like, nah, man, everybody's facing the furniture towards the TV because nobody wants to have to turn their neck to watch TV. Stuff like that, right? So yeah, and I think that's if that's the interpretation, especially after talking with Jules about this. But it does prompt him into like, oh, this is another thing, and like, especially this being the dreamscape, I imagine he pulls out a little notepad and writes down, and you can see this list of different things that he needs to follow up on and learn. And, you know, he's got, you know, learning to fight with Sanite. So it's like, oh yeah, this is right here. I'm just make that mental note, literally, and kind of set that down, right?
Fantastic.
And so as you guys move from studying the dream to studying the framework, I really like that idea. Yes, the dreamscape does not go far from even, we'll use Isabel as the one sitting there. It does not go far from Isabel's line of sight sitting there on the rocking chair. Like the house behind,
inside the house.
Right, yeah, the house itself is there and you can see the lovely big porch, but as soon as you try to open the door, like, nope, that's just solid. Like, it doesn't even have hinges. And like you can see in, but if you turn your perspective enough, it's just blank walls. It is a meticulous forgery of a dream. As soon as you look at it with any kind of critical eye, stuff starts to fall apart.
Yeah, I want to try to. Can I scrutinize it with Prime? Try to get any information about like who cast it.
Right. Now, one thing I am going to give you all a heads up on is you are effectively investigating the memory of a vision that happened, right? So there's going to be...
Oh, right, because we're just seeing what she remembers of it. We're not actually looking at it as it was happening.
I really won't say Nimbus or anything like that.
Right. So there is definitely some things you could find, but... yes, framework. Oh, and actually backtracking just a little bit. Yes, as you all are investigating the framework of the dreamscape that Isabel Petrichor puts forward to everybody, Legba suddenly goes, "Oh right, I studied my dream last night, and here are the results." Now, unfortunately, you do not have a lot of time. This is an opacity 2, so you do basically have one swing at it. But it's not a ton of opacity. It's 3 total, but you have to get an exceptional success to clear it all.
That's okay with me, because I'm going to spend a bunch of mana.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was figuring. So this is definitely a one and done kind of situation.
Yep. Going to spend a willpower.
And notably, it also feels very...
Oh, crap. That's wrong. I'm sorry. I thought the spell roll would make it work correctly. Let's see. Gnosis. It didn't add in bonuses. So...
As it should be. Well, yeah, Gnosis space plus willpower, right?
And
because the mana
rolling
is...
against space?
Or mine, excuse me. Right.
Yeah, rolling Gnosis mine plus willpower would be 11, not 8.
Oh, yes. Thank you. So roll 3 more, please.
Yep. Cool. and I spent the maximum mana I could. So, okay, so that rolls 3 more. Cool.
Okay.
So it's 2 plus 3 mana makes 5.
Actually, would you have spent 4 mana? No, 3
I
mana
think
a
you
turn.
can only,
Right.
yeah,
Okay.
at Gnosis 4, you can only spend 3 mana, and it goes up to 5 at Gnosis 5.
Gotcha. So yes.
Oh wait, no, it's 13. I would spend 4. Sorry, at Gnosis 4 you can spend 4, but you have 13 mana. I swapped those. Yeah.
In this case, all it is just deducting additional mana.
Yep.
But
me.
for the revelation and clearing through the scrutiny itself. So yes, very immediately recognize that this is awakened magic, and recognize the effect of a rote. Though because you got to the deep information bypassing the rote's signature nimbus, or rather the cloudiness of it, to the signature nimbus of the mage involved, which is fill in the blank here later.
Cool.
Sorry.
No
The spell factors involved, you definitely pick up. It has a day-long duration, and that it was affecting 5 subjects. The spell did not cause paradox, actually.
Wait, 5 subjects?
Across 5 subjects.
So not
But didn't
Jules?
get Jules. Yeah.
Correct.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well,
Gotcha.
now you can maybe make that assumption based on the fact that everybody else has reported a weird dream.
Maybe he just had a weird dream on his own.
Yeah.
Poor Jules.
Yeah. Will this spell cause paradox? Okay, technically did not cause paradox. May have provoked paradox, but that's not part of the identification.
Makes sense.
Identification of the phenomenon linked is one that the mage has scrutinized before. Yes, absolutely, because you have sent dreams to people before. You're like, oh, I totally recognize this trick. The mystery is related to supernal realms. Yeah, it's a magic spell. And how the arcanum relates to the mystery. Yeah. So the basic information that you definitely get is you were been given a definite vision to see within this dream, and it definitely came from a mage. Without having the signature nimbus created and in front of me, it definitely has a Brimos kind of vibes. Twisting mandalas, light, or rather the scorching after effects of such things, as opposed to the active nimbus.
Cool. Is it possible that I would get some impression of what they want, like what their motivation is?
I don't know that you can get that from a scrutiny of a spell, but combine that with the visions that everybody else has had, and now we jump back to the present, where Legba is having that kind of revelation of so I did see this, and 5 subjects, and which may also prompt that, well, what happened with Jules? But you may start to recognize that a lot of the dreams, and I think we can even throw this into the conversation you're having with Jules, is that, well, all the dreams are the witches of Purgatory Bluff separated. Nobody is there to support one another, either having abandoned the others or been abandoned by the others, as well as the what's a good way to put this? A lot of the dreams kind of hinge around using or not using power. In some cases, you see those who have been rewarded, not rewarded, who used their power and it was turned on them, or in some cases, in the case of specifically Rilla and Isabel, apparently did not use their power for some reason, and bad things happened to them. Did not apply their agency in some way and were put into a position that they were not happy with. I think is a good way to put that, Chris. And so it is, going back a day, talking stag versus lion again.
That makes sense.
And then we jump up. Now we're caught up.
Cool. So I would share all of that without adding any extra elaboration.
Gotcha.
Jules, did you have a dream?
Yeah. I mean, normal dreams.
So this wasn't a normal dream.
No, yeah, I didn't have a dream like this, or really any of yours. Wasn't like prophetic or something of the future or anything like that.
And yet you seemed just as distracted and upset as the rest of us this morning.
Was I? Didn't think I was. For the podcast folks, Chris gives a look. Jules shrugs and says, I had memories, nightmares of pandemonium again. I saw the same things I saw, it returned back to it, and it was disturbing, but at the same time, I kind of I knew it was a dream. I had enough awareness to recognize I was seeing memories, and so I just kind of let my fears pass over me, and just shrug it off. It definitely kind of weighed on me, but no, I mean, just bad dreams.
She'll squeeze his hand.
Yeah.
So, and if anyone wants to change our scene, feel free, but the more relevant question might be leaning towards what are we to learn from this imposed? Another example of the stag and the lion.
And jumping back just a little bit, because Ash had been talking about using Prime to investigate the dream and memory. And yeah, if you want to roll scrutiny with Gnosis and Prime, because I've told you meta-wise that there's not a ton that you can
Probably
get.
not a lot to see. Yeah.
Right. But I do appreciate the idea of the character actually discovering that.
Trying, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
2 successes.
Yeah. Which very quickly has no problem cutting through the one opacity of this, which is, okay, no, I'm looking at the memory of this place. But there are some things, especially turning on your mage sight, that similar to seeing the residence that was painted here that that Isabel picked up on, and actually, because Isabel has forces, excuse me, no Prime yet. But there are the little building blocks, right? What Prime is, that kind of space out and form what it's the structure, the framework, I guess, of a spell, right? That is kind of underneath all of this. Peel back the grass, and you have the layers of supernal magic that kind of created this, that everything was built on. And further,
And just like the green on black lines.
yes. Very very video game. I poked my head around the corner. The pink and black boxes, and all that kind of filler background that just wasn't a thing, and there wasn't anything more to it. Yeah.
These are lessons in finding a balance.
And they
Yeah,
seem
the recurring
like
theme of this
fables.
journey seems to have been the choice to use or not use power.
Fables are meant to teach a lesson.
Mm-hmm. Rilla, especially bringing up teaching a lesson, Rilla kind of screws up her face, making a face, shaking her head. She's like, well, think I figured one thing out about our mystery journal writer. Not 100% sure, but the stag and lion was one of the things the Diamond Order brought up frequently, specifically the gentleman from the Silver Ladder. One of the lessons that they were encouraging me to learn was to be neither stag or lion, but to stride the middle and to be a sage.
Right in the middle and be a lion with horns. Excellent. Good lesson.
It's like that is definitely the story that the Thyrsus would learn. But she nods though and says, that's their terms and their lessons, and that's what made me think of it. But that could also just merely be a thing that this particular person was using because they're aware of it. But if nothing else, they are at least aware of the teachings of the Silver Ladder. So
How many legs have we been on so far? Or challenges?
There was the Prime Journey, the Death Journey, the Life Journey, and we are now on the Mind Horrors. 4 of 10.
I believe the lesson is wisdom.
That has
That
been...
is what the story of the sage is about.
Mhm.
In that it is unwise to not act just as much as it is unwise to act inappropriately.
Indeed.
And in
Really
each of
doesn't say
these dreams that we've had, we've all done things that we would now consider unwise, either by becoming part of an experience we wouldn't like, or doing something that clearly was at the expense of people we value and love.
I'm like looking around the plantation. Jules kind of says, does anybody else want to share visions of their nightmares? I'll admit,
Sure.
yeah, it made me feel a little better to at least talk about what I saw. And I didn't even have, well, I did have a scary dream, but it wasn't like this. So
Your fears are just as valid as ours.
thank you. Good job, Layla. I mean, Barley.
Lila's also barking, but I have it on push to talk.
Ash got them skills.
I have distracted her temporarily with a treat bag.
Ooh, there we go.
Because I do want to get to other things
Mhm.
as well. I imagine we have a tour of everybody's dreams, which also kind of show off a different style of dream for each of you, where Isabel's was very planted in a chair and sitting. Cloak's was a little more abstract, with these visions from the distance and then coming in and seeing himself. Ash had a whole timeline compressed into basically a moment and just a history coming forward, and then
It's like when you know things in your dream.
Mhm.
You might not see them in this, but you know that is what has happened.
Right.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
imagine hers was very frantic, first person grabbing things
Mm-hmm.
to try to run out the door.
Right. Yeah. Because you know the bad thing is coming for you, even though you've never seen the bad thing. And of course, well, actually, I guess I should ask: does anybody not share their dream? Okay.
I feel like
That's
Isabel
something
would be
Theo
the
would
only one that
volunteer.
it's just like before this leg of the journey, I feel like Isabel would be the only one that would be like more hesitant about this sort of thing, and she volunteered to go first. So
Right. What were you saying, Craig?
Theo would volunteer, but of course she would.
Maybe it might be the last one where everybody's kind of looking expectantly. Nobody says anything.
Everyone would push you because we all acknowledge that these were
Mhm.
bad. And if you don't want to share them, that's fine.
It's more from the perspective like she's not sure that there's anything more to learn by looking at her particular slice of agony.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Okay.
I
Yeah.
imagine she does learn something though in the course of it.
Craig's call.
In the original experience. That's what you meant?
No, I meant out of character. That I imagine having all the other mages take a look at it and offer their perspective might be helpful.
Enough. It wouldn't take much. So
Yeah, it's
you
up
can
to
share.
you. You know,
Gotcha.
I'm not trying to dictate, just suggesting a possibility.
Yeah, and I think especially I can definitely say Rilla is definitely like standing with Theo, like arm around her, like, oh wow, you know, both the like spooky factor of there's a bunch of dead things around here, but also like like Craig said, the conscious lack of Catherine and Valosia, and she's like, yeah, okay, I can definitely see how this one messed you up.
And the worst part is that, and points to the Theo in the dream,
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't even care.
It's okay. I won't let you become that Theo.
Neither will I.
it really does seem that, in addition to wisdom, that the lesson appears to be that we are better together than apart.
Hmm.
That's true. You definitely wouldn't end up on a plantation if like points over a cloak. I'm
Any of us had a say in it,
right.
but yeah.
None of us, you know, and like looks over at Rilla looks over at, you know, Gisela and says, and I'm going to use modern parlance, but it's like I'm ride or die. Like you and I are not splitting up. Like, you know, we have each other's back, at least until we're, you know, old and gray.
We get run out of town, we'll run out together.
Right. Zipping off.
They were roommates.
That or Thelma and Louise. So actually, I've never seen Thelma and Louise, so maybe, but
It's a good movie.
yeah.
I think the only way I would let you get back onto a plantation like that is if you were infiltrating to help me burn it to the ground.
I actually kind of appreciate, well, and actually, because really kind of looks over at Cloak and says, why would you put yourself over Warner like that?
Why would I if I were who I am now?
What would
What
lead
could
you
lead you
to
there?
become that?
Hmm.
Or maybe another way to look at it is what broke you out of that in the first place.
I remember my thoughts about Purgatory Bluff when I first came here. I thought it would be temporary. And I assumed that everyone here was necessarily a threat to the people I protect. Unfortunately, Pandemonium left me with enlightenment, and so I was less inclined to do the things I used to do to protect people I care about and to accomplish my goals. It could have been a very easy slide back to where I was before, exulting in my power the way you saw me do yesterday. So what could happen now that could lead to me imposing myself over Warner? Let's say he and Theo have a conversation that does not go as well as I would hope it would. Let's say Ike harms someone. Let's say Isabel is in a situation where the mantle of sheriff doesn't protect her from someone being unreasonable. And in the moment, it makes most sense for me to stop what I perceive to be an escalation of depressing circumstances. And so I decide to, in one fell swoop, assert myself as the arbiter of everything that happens in town. Because in the moment, it seems like the wisest course of action.
If anyone
seem
in the
so
group was to end up as a warlord of Purgatory Bluff, honestly, I thought it would have been me. Which will like go big, like exaggerated wink.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, not to like undercut the seriousness, but
No,
to just
no.
be like, it's meant to be a show of like emphatic, like I believe you, and I don't think that you would come to that point.
Right. And I think especially as you all, to borrow from that one book series, confronting the fear and then turning it into something ridiculous.
It's like, what?
The books that shall not be named. But Rilla kind of puts a hand on Cloak's shoulder and says, there is always the possibility of someone doing something to us. We often talk about how we could have gotten there through our own actions or inactions, but Cloak, you are the perfect example. Somebody gets into one's mind and just a couple memories, and all of a sudden the wisest course of action based off your past experience might suddenly be something terrible.
You're right. It's why I try to consider the consequences to myself when I make certain choices, so that when I impose judgment over any other person, I don't forget that it turns me into a person that is more inclined to impose judgment on others.
And with that,
Yeah, I think that's probably
Yep.
Cool.
I do know, especially, well, actually, as you all kind of step out of the meditation and kind of return back to your bodies, and everybody has that moment of like, ooh, I haven't moved physically in a minute. Except for Legba, who's been like able to get up and like has finished doing some chores and stupid legacy attainments. Yeah.
Fresh coffee.
Right. It's been about 2 hours all told of, kind of this time together. And as you all kind of get out and the sun has gone from sunrise to sun is up, but you can also feel I don't know if you all are familiar with it, but the change in temperature and pressure as weather starts to come in. Yeah, Chris, shut up. And yeah, you can see coming from the west, over and beyond the butte that you guys are not exactly in the shadow of because of how sun rises, but you can see storm clouds coming in from the west. And yeah, it's if anybody's been out in the desert during a storm, when it storms, it storms. There's either there's either no rain or it's coming down. And
someone is bringing me a present.
maybe. But yes, definitely looks like the storm will hit probably tonight. And you know, as you all are kind of standing, looking, and the journal says stay the night, Jules is like, okay, I'm gonna need some help putting up some shelters. Because of note, looking over to, especially as you woke this morning, the passageway into the butte, it's gone.
Luckily, you have a nice big butte.
Thanks, Chris.
Did not intend to. Oh god.
Just say it right.
Nice,
It's a nice big booty.
Nice big booty full of rock to
Yeah.
shape a shelter out of if we wished.
Mhm.
Yeah,
wanna
at
do
least I want to put the horses away.
But besides that, I also, besides having to make shelters for everybody, I know Theo also has some plans. Because we did make mention of the desire to go into Theodosia Neros.
That's right.
Craig, how does Theo plan to do this? Because obviously there's setting up a domain. Because technically you could set up a domain merely borrowing Isabel's soulstone, or hitching a ride with Legba.
Mm-hmm.
So I tossed the scene control over to Craig.
Yeah. I'm thinking this is something she wants to do herself, not to cut anyone out or anything, but
No.
this
Cool.
is sort of a struggle she's had since she awoken.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so she has like a pewter cup that she uses as a path tool.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
So I think she'll make a soul stone out of that.
Okay. So spend your mana and willpower dot. I don't think you actually roll to impress your signature nimbus on a thing. No, you just do it. 1 mana, and then which puts your signature nimbus on it, and then infusing it with that willpower dot makes it into a soulstone. And then you need 3 successes on a Gnosis plus Arcanum roll, and also need to spend another mana.
All right.
Handle the mechanics, and then we'll talk about the narrative.
Thank you for the arcane beat.
Mm-hmm. Behold a domain.
Oh no, I meant for the act of hubris from creating a soulstone.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Because
Can I also roll that?
Isabel's domain before.
Oh yeah, that's true. We did retcon that. Yep. Okay, so 4 successes, so you get that in that first hour, and then yes, as Legba mentioned, making the soulstone, making the domain, I feel like is a scene, because I imagine, and Craig, feel free to adjust, like grabbing hold of the pewter and making it a soulstone, and then immediately going into the creation of the domain,
Mm-hmm.
and then
That was the intention.
Then the active hubris, I think, is the 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Does this apply to your current obsession?
Does it?
Making a soulstone specifically.
No.
Okay. And does it fit into Vice or Virtue? I'm pretty sure no. Soulstones, I can't imagine making a soulstone fitting into a Vice or Virtue necessarily.
Power.
Yeah, I guess it's true. Yeah.
I can see a couple
Pride's her vice. But she's not doing this out of pride.
Right. And is it in defense of her virtue?
Generosity? No.
Yep.
Well, yes, actually, yes.
Cool.
Okay. Cool. So roll 4 dice.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Oh, shit.
Lose the wisdom. And what hubristic condition would you like to have while you go into your domain or into your own Neros and meet up with your daemon?
This is going to suck so bad.
Admittedly, there was a part of me that was like, I'm not going to bring this up to Craig.
You're gonna take your megalomaniacal.
I definitely don't want to take that. This is kind of what. Oh, this is really so shitty. Okay.
There's no good answer for what Craig is up to. Yeah.
Both would make sense with your dream, what you're feeling right now.
Have to go into your Oneros with your condition.
If I took the megalomaniacal condition, I would absolutely go into my Oneros.
Yeah, that tracks.
I would not go. So it's a megalomania, and what's the other one?
Rampant, where you use magic for everything.
Oh, they both suck so bad for the narrative I was trying to construct.
Yeah, just like with all the lessons we've just gotten, I feel like Rampant is you learn the wrongest thing.
Just have a little lion detour, that's all.
So I'll go with Rampant.
Okay. Now, if you and this is, I'm very open to if you have other ideas of the hubris of this. If you have other ideas, especially we have all played this long enough that we can definitely come up with signs and sorcery. I really wish you'd given me more hubris conditions.
There's something I've never seen anybody talk about in. I just realized didn't happen in the Rookery area, but because hubris conditions are mental conditions, you can technically scour them.
Yeah, but you're also affected by the conditions. So would you really scour it?
Right.
I'm not suggesting that you, as Theo, would necessarily do that. Just it's an option.
I did.
So,
yeah. When I got one with Atratus, was like physically rip it out.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
Yourself and stuff.
I think I missed that you did that. My mistake.
Is it possible? Like I'm trying to.
Because remember, no matter what, it's going to be a bad condition because you failed your hubris roll. But
yeah. Well, with the condition,
the question has been asked: do you want a dramatic failure?
Don't put that out. That's one of those ones I don't know if I can handle. Do you want this to be ongoing and permanent?
Let's go wrapped. So we're doing. We're gonna have a good time now.
Yeah, she's going in rampant.
Okay, I like that. And let's be honest, going into your Neros and going to throw magic around willy nilly, not too bad.
Yeah, except I got a 6-shooter and she's got a bazooka.
Technically, you both have bazookas.
Yeah. Yeah, neither of you rolled Paradox. Yeah. It just has. Technically, I think she technically has more bazookas, but you both have a bazooka.
She has allies with more bazookas, but you're both independently the same strength.
Yeah, that's true. Cool. Narratively, what does the basically past hour or so look like for Theo? If there's anything of note.
So she's concentrating, and like shadows sort of deepen as the domain kind of kicks in. Things just take on a bit of a spooky cast. She definitely becomes Baba Sarah as she's doing this work, like pretty solidly into the shadow name. And then like just the darkness seems to kind of close around her as she's finishing. So she's almost like in a pale skin in a pool of inky blackness.
Ooh.
Sort of deal.
Just to add to it, I imagine this is perhaps in the stonework shelter that you've created to hide everybody from the storm, and everybody's maybe looking in, going, "You know what?
Maybe not. I'll take
maybe we'll wait till the storm actually gets here.
Enjoy the sunshine till.
It's okay.
And I think she's also getting more frustrated as she's working on it, which kind of leads into the rampant.
Yeah, to hubris. Yeah.
I'm tired of fucking around with all this shit, and yeah.
You're rolling her sleeves up. I'm just gonna beat my own ass.
I'm kicking my ass here, pal. Do you mind?
And then just to help set the time of day and basically what all is happening around you. Actually, correct me if I'm wrong. Resolve plus composure, right, Ralph?
Yep. Meditation. Yep.
To enter your own heroes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it takes an hour.
5? God damn, I forgot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We out here with the high willy crowd that got the long willy.
I swear, Ralph. Put you in the corner with Noctall. Except the two of you would probably get along too well.
That's definitely a what have I done sort of situation.
Right. And so, you step into your domain following the path of your watchtower. The trail of bones that leads into the astral and stepping off into your Oneros, which, as we've discussed previously, is the Romani camp. With the crossroads there. When Legba came by, there was just the one. But you stepping into your own Oneros, it's a fairly lively camp, with folks arriving and leaving. People from Theo's past. Some of them who were Romani, and other people are like from Purgatory Bluff, just because the Oneros just grabs faces. And I imagine stepping off of her own wagon down the back of it and into the circle of wagons.
And rolling up her sleeves as she comes in, and she's definitely stalking towards the camp
as Baba Sarah. Actually,
Baba Sarah.
a quick question, because we actually really haven't had a chance to talk about it. Does Theo, Baba Sarah, look like Baba Sarah in the astral, or does she have a different look to her?
Oh, definitely. She's the pale skin, hood up witch in the black cloak, holding a gnarled bone staff, that kind of thing.
Gotcha.
All right, march into the camp, and just say, we need to sort this out.
And people kind of look up at you, and I feel like it's the the Western classic, right? Somebody steps in, the music stops, everybody turns, and then the music kicks back up, and people go back to people kind of return to what they were doing, and it's definitely it's a 100%. All right, dismissed. Don't care.
And she's ignoring them. Nothing responds. There's no. All right. I am going to do. Can't have my book open, or it's gonna chug my processor. But I want to unravel the wagon.
Oh.
Fuck this thing. It's out. All right.
Well, that's more like, fine, you're going to ignore me, then I'm just going to start ripping apart the scenery until you show up.
Yeah. And from your study of the Oneros and Little Talks, it's like, actually, of all the places to start uprooting shit, this place is kind of a safe-ish spot. I like that. Yeah.
But she's going in rampant, so.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Getting right into it. And of course, I should go look up the resolution of rampant.
It's good drama.
Oh, right. Until you suffer a paradox. Good thing we're down here.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to have this for a while.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I think you can't overreach. So, I guess, yeah, 100%.
wouldn't be
You're
able
never
to.
going to run into.
Yeah.
Yep.
I basically have infinite reach in here, right?
Mhm.
Yep.
And there's no sleepers to see it. So, yeah.
You also in your domain, and it's suspected to stitch you. So yeah, we're in.
So while you're in here, you literally can't resolve it.
No.
Great.
I suppose you want to.
Yeah,
wanna
roll it out, because I do want to see if you can actually pull off a spell. Also, I want to show off the new thing, even though it doesn't look super great. Well, you just can't read the last thing. I gotta highlight it.
Reach isn't really a factor, so
Yeah,
I'm
so skip
effectively just ignore it. I'm rampant. Need duration. I probably need scaling. I can
For
do that
wagon?
with events.
Yeah.
You're fraying the crap out of this
She
wagon,
can't
right?
use her shadow name for this because this isn't a protecting thing.
Hmm.
But she can use path tools.
Mm-hmm. Any path tool she uses, including her soulstone.
Mm-hmm. I think that's it.
Cool. Oh, you clicked. Oh, shoot. Yes, I haven't fixed the previous one. Hang on here.
Okay.
No, no,
we
you're
have a
fine.
new one I should be using.
Nope.
So 6 minus 4 plus 3 is 5.
Cool. Roll it. I had another one that I was using to make everything, so I didn't break the old one, and then I never moved it over to the old one. Cool. Oh yeah, 3 successes, no problem. And yes, this wagon starts to kind of pull apart in pieces, and it's, like smashing a Lego structure, right? Just chunks of it just come off down to the wheels, and the wheels just kind of plunk, like almost in sync.
Can I come or do I keep going?
No reaction. I mean, there's the people are like starting to like get up and move away from you. These little goetic actors. But yeah, no response, nothing.
All right.
Out of character, I will let you know you're on the right tack.
Leaning into the pride.
Mm-hmm.
Come out and talk to me, you coward.
Why should she stop you? You're finally doing what she wants.
Very true. And I imagine that's like a full-throated. Well,
oh, it's like driven by her. Yeah.
Well, because I was going to say full-throated yell, but actually no, it was Babasera's. It's more of that screech, right? And proper witchy. But yeah, there's no response.
Okay, so wagon's gone. How am I going to piss her off? Okay. I'm going to start building a prison. Old, like, Western jailhouse.
Mm-hmm. Big old
prison.
blocks, and yeah. All right.
Yep.
And admittedly, that's about the. Wait, hang on. You can't actually unmake stuff, by the way. Let's just be clear for everyone. I don't know. I know it's a spell name, but I was just like, hey, just remember, kids, you need Gnosis 5 for unmaking. Just the spell, not the practice. It threw me for a second. I was like, what? I don't remember giving you Gnosis. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, I'm cool with just the flip side of like, okay, now that I've taken apart the wagon, I'm going to rearrange it into a jailhouse. And I'm cool if you want to just throw the same five dice at that and just flipping it around. Yeah. And converting all the broken pieces, which I mean, at this time in era, we don't know the idea of atoms, so that doesn't even come to mind. But just all the parts and just stuff starts to rearrange and put itself. And I know you're talking about like Old West gel, but I'm imagining this thing is like a one room, like one person you're gonna put into it. Very like, I'm making this for you. Is that, am I on the right vibe?
Specifically, there's like wanted posters slathered on the outside walls that are of her.
Right. I love that. And yeah, there is that, the barometric pressure drops, and there is I imagine whereas Theo is standing as Baba Sarah, right, who represents protecting and stuff like that, you see like evil hot Theodosia, right? like evil queen, Galadriel, moment of like, hey, I'm going to use all my power and you better believe I'm going to be powerful. I'm going to look exactly how I want to look, right? And shows up, and there's no staff to lean on, but there's, not necessarily a rich dress, because I think that's totally not her thing, but the well done dress and just very confident posture and looking at you, and she's got like 3 inches on you. Well, actually probably more, because imagine Baba Sarah's the hunched witch, right? Mm-hmm. And kind of looks over at the prison. Excuse me?
Mm-hmm. Sorting this out.
That doesn't look like sorting out.
I needed to get your attention, didn't I?
That's fair.
You and I, are holding each other back.
I mean, you're holding me back. Yeah.
And you're holding me back. We're holding each other back.
Yeah, but I'm the one that matters.
You.
Bitch, I'm the one with the body.
Neither one of us are becoming what we want to be, as long as we keep on fighting like this.
Eventually you'll give up.
Or you will.
Not likely.
Excised.
Don't even joke about that.
It's a possibility, isn't it?
Do you know what it would do to you?
Yeah.
I don't think you do. You think you're going to be this when I'm gone.
My point is, we can't keep fighting like this, because neither one of us are getting what we want. We're wasting all of our energy bickering and fighting and pushing each other when we could be doing other stuff.
No, absolutely not. I'm not wasting time with this and kind of motioning at the Baba Sarah, right? And all this? No, absolutely not.
We want the world to be how we envision it, right?
Right.
Level playing field. Nobody above. Well, we don't want anyone.
No masters.
Sort of where you go. It's the greatest equalizer we have ever found in our life together.
Right. And you want to squander it taking care of a town.
What if we focus our efforts together in spreading that fire?
Excuse me, what?
The greatest thing that ever happened to us was our awakening. Suddenly we were free. Could do whatever we chose to do. That's the great equalizer. Why don't we spread that fire? If everybody's awakened, then no one's in charge, right?
She grabs...
Silver letter liked that.
Right, yeah. She grabs, like... I don't even think she grabs, like, your arm. I think just, like, grab a bunch of cloth and just hauls you. And there's this blur of motion moving through your own Neros to the... Actually, I think she takes you to the necropolis, right? That dream. And, stands and looks and said, this is what we could do. Something monumental. And you want to share this?
Who's missing from here?
The fuck if I care.
Really, you don't care at all about Theo? About Velosia? Catherine? I know that that's not true.
They're just holding me back.
They're lifting you up and pulling you forward. We never even would have started looking into Prime if it hadn't been for Velosia. Understand the truth behind all magic. If it hadn't been for her and what happened to her and what we're trying to figure out, we never even would have looked at that. We're totally happy just digging in the earth and making zombies and experimenting with golems. And we would have been just doing that all the rest of our life.
Okay. Velosia was useful, but Catherine? We don't need her.
Do, because she keeps us grounded and she keeps us here in the real world.
She keeps us from this. And as she points, you watch fast motion, the stones pulling themselves up, and you can see it's not a dark, spooky necropolis in the pure evil kind of, mustache twirling kind of vibe. But it is pretty. It is gorgeous, but it is definitely an altar to the dead, vibes. And they're it's 100% within Theo's aesthetic, right? But yeah. And she's like, this is what we could have. We can bring Velosia here.
She grabs her by the lapel or by the dress and pulls her in and says, what if we could share it with her?
It's the whole thing is getting built up. And as it's completing, right? She grabs you and returns. So you both have this grip on each other, and she pulls you up to the top of it. And there's this throne. And then suddenly there are two thrones.
Mm-hmm.
She looks. I can be okay with this. We can share power with Catherine. She'd be more useful then.
She's not a tool. She's a partner.
Sure. Whatever makes you happy.
Queen.
I'm going to be doing a quick and dirty because I need a fast.
Sure.
Enhancing the staff.
What are you aiming for? Because some of this,
I'm enhancing this. Yeah, I just want to enhance the staff that I'm using because I'm going to smack her upside the head with it.
Oh, sure. Dude, don't even roll. I love it.
Okay.
Yeah. That's why I was like, no, just tell me what you do.
Yeah, it's just the staff gets energized. There's a dark sort of dry ice coming off it and just smacks her upside the head with it.
And now are we talking beating her or teacher reprimand?
Definitely smacking her pretty solid to make a point.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, she kind of takes the strike and stumbles, stands back up, and you take the shaking condition. Because you've never seen yourself in your power mad. And she says, don't ever do that again. Or your next visit.
She says she is not a tool and smacks her again.
Yeah.
And she stumbles back and is clearly oh no. And the necropolis around
The
you.
audacity of this bitch.
100%. The necropolis, the top of it, right where you were looking. I keep saying necropolis. In my head, I'm seeing ziggurat, right? Sinks.
It'd be like the big thing. And
Yeah. The top level sinks down about 10 feet. The walls, still there, and like all of a sudden you were in a pit with 2 thrones. And she like has I don't know what, I'm going to ask Craig, what weapon, like, because the staff is multi-purpose. I'm jumping straight to a sword because the sword is made for one purpose, but I don't know if
she would definitely have a scythe.
it's true. That's true. What I was thinking. Right.
Witch queen with the side.
Right. And this is no farm implement.
You know why? Because she slays.
Thank you, Ralph. And she looks at you and goes, that was twice. And like, it looks and says, I'm gonna call her a tool. You can call her whatever you want. I'm saying she can sit there.
As soon as she says I'm calling her a tool, I'm gonna smack her again.
All right. Roll strength plus weaponry.
I don't know that you'll win this actual fight.
Notably,
Don't
remember,
think I will.
because you're not actually using strength, you're going to be using either intelligence or presence. But your
Say that again?
weaponry skill, I know.
Oh yeah, I'm not actually using. So I'll use presence.
Mhm.
Hey, I've been boosting that lately, don't you know? And weaponry, which I don't have any dice in.
So -1.
Recall.
I'll do that automatically, right?
I believe so if you select
If you
weaponry.
click it, yeah.
Oh, actually, point of order, you are rampant. So to beat somebody is going to require a point of willpower, and you don't get the willpower bonus from it, because that is the rampant condition's negative effect.
Okay. Though I'm using my magically enhanced staff.
You know what? That's fair. That's
Okay.
fair.
That'll set up. Come on. My machine is so slow.
It's okay.
So, presence
Plus
and
weaponry.
weaponry. Sheet roll.
Uh,
Here we go.
It's got the -1 in there. Yeah, so that solid success. Technically, she has defense, but I'm not worried about that right now. Because, this is just the, like, can you do it while, the oomph for it, and do you have the gumption for it? You strike her again, and she's like, okay, what's your defense?
My defense, just standing where I am, is 3.
Okay.
Except I wouldn't use dexterity for that, would I?
I guess no, you would not. You would use the highest of
Wits.
manipulation or wits. Or
So it's 1 better than my dexterity.
You use the lowest of manipulation or wits.
but it's your finesse trait. You don't.
Oh, that's right. That's
Right.
right. Yeah, that's right. Just finesse.
Sorry. So what was the total?
4.
Okay. Because here's the trick. She doesn't have any weaponry either. Well, why would she? So -4. Yeah. So without turning this into... Oh, okay. So yeah, there is a connection from the scythe, and you take 3 points of lethal damage to your astral corpus self. Of note,
Death armor affect that?
That would, and you can definitely activate that, which becomes bashing. The other thing is you can also activate your Amnion, which your Daemon cannot, which gives you armor. Though I think that's an action. Or is
It is.
It is? Okay.
It's an instant action rather than reflexive.
Right. So that is the next option. But yeah, for now it's just 3 bashing. But like she, delivers the strike and then kind of steps back and says, "Do you really want to do this?"
No, of course I don't. I'm backed into a corner just like you.
As she looks around and realizes that she is in fact got her back to the corner of this pit that she has lowered herself into.
You're trapped in a body that I'm driving, and I have to deal with the astral self. It's you.
I apologize for calling her a tool.
Theo visibly relaxes and stands back and answers that.
You can see her thinking, mulling things over. Okay. We continue this path, granting Catherine power. Or trying to. May
Giving her the
destroy her
option.
in the end. You do realize that.
And it will be a choice that she chooses to take or not.
Not that part.
We're going to offer it, do some experiments first. Jules has indicated he's going to try again. Thought we'd focus with him. If we can spark an awakening in him, we should be able to do it with other people.
Break him first.
But we start with, Jules, fine. We can use him as a experiment. Catherine, and then those who are worthy, we will share power.
Yeah, for sure.
She kind of, she's still got the scythe, and it's, it's ready to be swung at a moment's notice, but then, shifts it to the non-dominant hand. And I don't know, is Theo a spit in the hand shake kind of lady?
Not really a spit in the handshake, but a handshake.
Right. And so, offers her hand forward.
Partners?
We will continue to argue. But on this note, yes.
All right. Takes her hand.
Cool. And that is how Theo founds her legacy.
Cool.
Like Rampant was like the whole active hubris and the condition was like the worst possible condition to be in to come in and do this.
Yep.
Awesome. I love it.
Oh no, I was happy. I was like, I don't know that Craig remembers that he's got an active hubris to do if he makes the soul stone. It's like there are these 2 other options that don't require. Nope, we're going to do it ourselves. Okay. And I don't think that Theo would even be aware of that or know that, So, so yeah, and it's a short little dip into, into your own Neros, and you kind of come out with a new legacy attainment.
How does the bashing manifest?
It doesn't. Damage in the astral is literally to just your astral corpus.
Okay.
If it was full of, I think it's full of lethal, and maybe full of aggravated, but then you're kicked out of
Full lethal.
the astral. Yeah, okay, yeah, full lethal. You're just punted back out and soul shocked, I think.
If you're in the Temenos or the Anima Mundi, if you're in the Oneros, you just exit, just like you woke up.
That's right. Yeah, because you don't get hit with the barriers on the way out.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so diving around and getting into a fight in your own Oneros is not all that dangerous. I mean, there's other conditions and things like that may come out of it, but you also shed the shaking condition. You confronted, Queen Galadriel, you would have a queen moment and then
Yeah.
moved past it.
After everything's like stowed away and like sort of ready, I
Mhm.
imagine there's still some time to like.
Oh
come
yeah,
to
because
terms and stuff.
it's like I said, it's definitely going to hit in the evening, and a
Right.
little wink of magic to make the stone
Right.
shelter.
Isabel would grab Arachne. You want to play some cards?
Sure.
All right.
Is there something you're looking for?
Well, I had intended to ask if you have any insight or maybe a guiding hand into understanding time. But
Yes. It depends on what you need.
I mean, hearing how the rest of you approach an arcana can be helpful, I imagine. Let's keep in mind, yeah. Does anyone have anything in common with
With
Petrichor?
Isabel.
Just the forces overlap with Rilla, right? Like
Mhm.
no one else has spirit, no one else has life, right?
Nope.
Yeah, I'm
So
good.
she hasn't been able to really share things like that or really have any questions so far. So it's more like I imagine that it would be helpful to hear you talk about your approach, and if I can try and internalize that. Obviously, she doesn't say those particular words, but after the dreams, I'd like to know if my father is alive.
We can. I think we can figure that out. It depends on how you want to ask. One would be, when will you see him again?
Right.
Or under what circumstances might you see him again in the future?
Okay.
I think I have this as Praxis.
Mm-hmm.
Theodosia. Okay, the sheet's not working. I'm gonna use the spell template. For each, you just need instant and specific question, really, because we're doing it with you.
Yep. Hey, look, it actually worked. Now I gotta highlight it. 8 dice.
Yeah, 8.
Is I assume the macro is creating that like total?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's adding all those numbers.
I mean the by consequence of the macro adding it, it's turning it yellow background.
Yep.
Was my question I was trying to ask.
Yep. 2 successes.
8 dice, 2 successes. Not an exceptional, but yeah, the question, under what circumstances
2 questions.
would you meet your father again? And that's an answer that you are going to get.
I like that. Well, yeah, I guess it's still Arachne's spell. So, yeah, it's couched in probably a lot of like metaphor and stuff like that. That probably will be irritating to the Theosis. But yeah, it basically comes down to there's a lot of situations where you may see your father again.
Very strongly implying that yes, he is alive.
Mm-hmm. And you have a second question.
Don't know that she has one.
Okay. Yeah, especially like the revelation, hey, dad's still alive.
You could get specific and ask it, what is the soonest occurrence of that?
What is the most likely situation or something like that?
Actually, yeah, I think it's if you return to Mexico City, you will very likely see your father again.
Well, now we know what not to do.
Or
As I said, so now we know what not to do.
Did that answer your questions?
Pretty clearly.
But yes, for me, you know how, like Miss always say, like, space is fake. That's time to a certain extent. It's like a flowing tapestry that has the past that's already been woven that you can go see. And then the future threads being pulled in. And you can follow them. They're not always permanent. You might do something to change the pattern, and so that thread is removed.
A dead branch.
Yes, pruned. And the further you try to look forward, the more options there are because the pattern hasn't been decided yet.
So in this, as you say, you see it as a weaving, but if I were to call it a tree with various branches, then those that dwell among the branches She gets a little bit lost in the sauce.
Right.
I'm trying to follow, and I'm just like, yes, tree. That tracks. I don't know what you're talking about with people in the branches.
I think she's trying to
create the metaphor.
She's trying to get to what the if she's to see it like this, how are fate and time differentiated? Because I think when she hears you talk of everything you do, it seems from her outside perspective to be it's all together, it's all the same.
They are very tightly interwoven.
Let me jump over it because the book actually does a really good thing on it.
I stole the tree thing from the book because Signs of Sorcery talks about seeing time as the world tree and walking its branches to different timelines and stuff.
What are the vicissitudes that influence the growth of a tree? It's often weather. It's often abiotic factors.
The time Arcana section has my favorite one. Some Acanthus liken time to a loosed arrow, and fate is the archer's aim.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Pointed in that direction, but once it's loosed, it's going to go. And you can't really nudge it. So,
Yeah, I imagine Fates is like, again, yeah, like the hands weaving. You can pluck and pull and throw in new threads.
Yeah. All to find the fruit you're after.
And I so much
I mean,
love.
find out the fruit on the way.
Right, yeah. I so love the idea of, like, this is an example of people from another path studying Arcana and going, okay, hang on. Like, life and spirit,
Sure.
totally get those. No problem. Fate, time, matter, what the heck is going on over here? And trying to make it work in their, to borrow from Ascension, the paradigm. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to continue with the fruit aspect of the metaphor, the sweetness of a fruit, how quickly it ripens, or its size is often a consequence of how the tree is nourished. And those things you can't really predict far in advance. So, although the tree might stand the winds of time, right? The fruit that is born on the tree will vary considerably. And of course, that's an out of character statement.
Right. I like it though.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think Isabel's like, it's like, all right, this has given me,
I'm going somewhere with this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I am closer than I was before this conversation, and that is good.
As we near the end, kind of curious the kind of vibe to the scene, as we have basically everybody, I almost said huddled, but let's be honest, we're using magic to make the stone shelter. It's probably a cavern more than anything, sheltered away, and there's a fire going in the middle of it, and there's space for everybody. It's probably actually going to be one of the better places you guys have slept. It's like we got a nice smooth floor, make little divots for everybody to sleep in. I don't know how much
Round
Theo,
hammocks.
right? Yeah, I don't know how much Theo went into it, but Theo had stuff to do. But
To be fair, Theo also rampant.
yeah, well, yeah. Now that we're coming out of it, yeah, because I imagine the shelter was built before the soulstone was made, but yeah. So everybody's kind of settled in, especially in contrast. The sun is not setting, but it's like this is where we're chilling for the day.
Okay. I interject.
Yeah, please do.
Because I think the closer that storm gets, the more and more Petrichor sinks into her shadow name. Like, I can just feel it coming. And she's probably bugging Rilla. She's like, this is the forces. This is the forces bit. It's gotta be.
Getting hyped for it, right? Yeah.
And then, like, especially like as the winds start blowing in, as it gets like actually close, she's like standing out like at the mouth of the shelter, and like urgently questioning Baba Sarah to see if there's anything new instructions or anything like that.
Oh yeah.
Like, just tell me that book tells me to play in the
Don't
storm.
what the book said. What does it say now?
Are we there yet? But yeah, notably, no. For Craig's purposes, no. The journal has not changed. It is definitely, rest here. Now that said, it just says rest. If Petrichor running out into torrential rain and lightning is rest, then rest away. Right, I know. Jules joins you and Rilla, and you imagine at the mouth.
Yeah, also going to be out in the looking at the storm at this point, like with no sights, because I want to try to see the spell.
Okay. Gotcha. We will.
Don't feel the rain on your skin.
There's also that. But we're gonna do any investigation stuff. We will remember press into brain to do at the start of the next session. But yeah, narratively, I imagine we have probably everybody in the mouth of the cave. Some people may be outside of the cave, watching it roll in, as and because you can see it even changing on the ground as the dirt and stuff like that gets darker. You can see the rain falling as it comes, the wind moving in, and then just rain just piling over stuff. And yeah, I imagine Petrichor is stepping out into it, and Jules
It's
is
just God's power, baby.
right. Go ahead, Ralph.
There is something Cloak wants to do, but I can narrate it next time. if you
Okay.
want.
But yeah, I had like Jules and Rilla looking at each other, watching Petrichor step out there, and you can definitely, for everybody else, see like, are we going to run out there? Are we going to run out there and join her? Because Rilla has the like, I have forces. Like this feels like a thing to investigate and to partake in. And Jules is like, that's my girlfriend, I think. And I might want to go, enjoy this with her. But at the same time, that's a lot of rain. And as we see, like, Petrichor stepping into it and disappearing in the rain, as, just it gets that darker, right? Then the thunder rumbling and then lightning flashing. And where did Petrichor go? We'll find out next time.
Look up.
Awesome.
Probably, but I'll chat with you, Chris, this week.
Excellent. I like secret chats.
Yeah.
I would allow immediately.
Yeah, especially when immediately you can hide from everybody else. Thank you all for joining us. Twitch folks, sorry about the technical difficulties. YouTube guys, we had a great show today, didn't we?
It was good tonight.
Yeah. As always, join us on Discord, www.yeetinto.space. Come hang out, chat, join us with some good conversations. Talk about video games, talk about birds, dogs, your own shows. I mean, yeah, if you've got your show, we have a couple people who share their YouTube videos. Absolutely welcome. Or just talk about your games. I'm going to call Griffin out here and actually Moku too. Trust me, you can come bring your big wall of text and tell us about what shenanigans your folks are up to. We appreciate it. At least for me, I enjoy reading it when I'm like, I don't have anything immediately to do at work. Scroll. And occasionally steal ideas. If you want to support us monetarily, that's patreon.com/occultists anonymous or www.staylucky.club. Quick, Greg, get in the car.
Stop the car.
As he continues to think that we're getting away with something, but thank you all very much for your support. I do not want to diminish the idea that you all like this and think it's worth money, and we appreciate that. It occasionally does flabbergast us, but we appreciate it nonetheless. And I think that's it. We will see you all next week.
See you later.